Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us today. My name is Michelle Morris. I'm with Consolidated Planning Group. We host these webinars several times a week just to try to help, educate the community and advocate for parents and spread the word about things that you can be doing for your special needs loved ones to help plan for the future. And, I don't know how many of these we've done, but I just wanted to take a second today before we get started and really thank all of you who attend our webinars. Some people have been to one or two, some people have been to many, many more than that. And I just love that as a community, we are helping to create advocates like you parents who are learning these things so that you can go out to your friends and neighbors and community groups and let them know what resources are available to them as well. So I want to thank you for being here with us and for being an advocate by watching our videos. Before we get started, a few things, a few housekeeping items, if you will. We do record all of our webinars. We present live, we record them, and then we put them on our YouTube channel. So if you have to step away or if you've missed one of our previous webinars, you can always check our YouTube channel to be able to watch those again. Now, if you have registered ahead of time for this webinar and you gave us your email address, we are going to send you a link after this webinar is done today, a link to that webinar on YouTube, as well as the slides from today's presentation. So you'll have the recording and the slides later on today in your email. We can't see or hear you. So please, if you have any questions or comments, we would love that. Just put them in the chat box because that way we can present the material and watch the chat box to be able to see what kinds of questions are out there about the village centers. So today we're going to be talking about the village centers, which is a residential center here in Texas. We do work all across the country at Consolidated Planning Group, but today we're going to be specifically focusing on this particular Texas residential community. So at Consolidated Planning Group, we are first and foremost financial advisors. We're not attorneys. We don't work at a residential community. We are financial advisors helping families prepare for retirement, have life insurance, investments, and to take care of your loved one when you can't be here anymore. We are truly dedicated to serving the special needs community because all of the financial advisors at Consolidated Planning Group are parents to loved ones with needs. We've been doing this for over 30 years. We are chartered special needs consultants. We are Social Security certified Social Security advisors. That's the right term. And we are also members of the Special Needs Planning Academy. We take this very, very seriously. We are located just outside of Houston, Texas, in the Sugar Land, Missouri City area. But again, because of the internet, we are able to serve families all across the United States. So feel free to send this video along to anyone in the US that you might know who might be able to use our services. Families come to us for things like lifetime care and protection planning. So, how are you going to take care of your loved one even after you are gone? And how can you protect your family in case of something bad happening, like a job loss or death or a disability from a parent? We help with transition planning. We can help you strategize your different flows of money and how the ABLE account, the waiver programs, the special needs trust, all those benefits, both state and federal and local resources, how all of that works together to make a complete picture for you. We do that future cost of care estimate where we look at once you're gone, how much is your loved one going to need to ensure their continuity of care even after you're gone. And again, we are here to advocate for you and to educate you. And it's kind of rare what we do. Out of the entire United States, there are over 263,000 financial advisors. But out of that 263,000 financial advisors, fewer than 200 focus on special needs planning the way that we do. That's less than a tenth of a percent of all the financial advisors in the United States who truly understand the nuances of special needs planning. So you are in the right place. A few things that we always like to talk about before we start the webinars and give you some helpful sound information and advice. First of all, when you're thinking about what is going to happen after high school, we always recommend that you start exploring those options early. There are fantastic educational programs beyond high school. There are residential and day and transition programs like we're going to be talking about today. There are wonderful work programs. So your child does not need to just graduate from high school and live on the couch playing video games or watching Netflix. We do think that it's important that you visit these programs and opportunities early. In case there's a waiting list, you want to get on that wait list, but you also want to introduce your loved one to these programs so that when the time comes, it's not so much of a shock. They've already been involved, they've already seen the community, they already kind of know a little bit, hopefully. And our final bit of advice is just think very, very carefully as you're thinking about who is going to be a caregiver for your loved one when you cannot do it anymore. A lot of people think it's easy and inexpensive to just have a sibling become the caregiver, but that can create a lot of family drama and dynamics that are not necessarily what you want for your family. For example, maybe your little Jacob and his sister Sarah, Sarah's going to go to college and have a family and a career, and you want her to take care of Jacob when they grow up. But at that time, Sarah might realize she's bitten off more than she can chew and have a little bit of a feeling of resentment towards you and towards her brother because now she has to be in the role of caregiver. And from Jacob's point of view, you also have to remember that he's been living with his sister Sarah all this time, and they've been partners in crime and best friends and playmates. And now all of a sudden, Sarah's going to step into this new role. It could feel a bit like she's trying to act like parent. And Jacob could feel a little bit of resentment towards his sister. So that dynamic, that family dynamic can go south or it could be wonderful. It's just that you have to be aware of what can happen and just be very careful about that situation. Okay. So I don't want to go too much into that because I know you're here today to listen to Miss Jessica Morales and learn more about the community. So, Jessica, welcome. Thank you so, so much for being here with us and explaining about the village centers.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm delighted to be here. We have participated in a few webinars over the past several years and have found it to be a really enjoyable and beneficial experience and love sharing information with the broader community. And today I'm just going to scratch the surface of all the many different programs, services, and resources we provide here. And of course, encourage you to follow up with me or colleagues whose contact information will be listed throughout the presentation. My name is Jessica Morales. I'm the Executive Director of the Village Centers. We are located and based out of Kingwood, Texas, which is in the Northeast Houston region. And we serve clients probably on average in a 20 to 30 mile radius in this part of Houston, but are open to the public and serving the greater Houston area. We're dedicated to serving the needs of individuals with IDD and their families in a wide variety of ways. I think there's yeah, you can advance. I think everyone on this call knows what IDD is, but just to reinforce that that's really our only steadfast criteria for admissions or for service is to be an adult, so 18 plus with an IDD diagnosis. which of course is typically characterized by some limitations in intellectual functioning and adaptive behavior, a wide range of different diagnoses and conditions that may fall under that, including autism, and different aspects of the autism spectrum. And with the right supports, we know that individuals with IDD can live very full, meaningful lives, and that's what we're here to help facilitate. What we offer at the Village, I know we're kind of branded on this webinar as a residential community, and we do offer residential options, but we are not off on a huge acreage campus like some programs are. We're very much integrated into the center of the community here in Kingwood and have a number of different offerings. We do have a day program currently serving about 125 individuals. And within the day program, we focus a lot on choice and being able to create your own experience and schedule that is meaningful based on skills, interests, needs, preferences. So we have regular community outings scheduled throughout the month that range from more skills focused, like money management, to purely recreational and fun, like going to the movies, or just out to lunch with friends. We do have a fleet of about 13 vehicles that provide that opportunity to go out into the community. And also, we offer door-to-door pickup in the nearby area, for about 50 individuals through that wheelchair accessible transportation. Also, within the day program, we have on-site clubs and different kind of options for our folks to opt into. So those might be things like our computer and technology club, gardening with a tower garden. As of yesterday, we have chickens on site and a chicken coop. So there's the option to
That's so
do some
cool.
animal care, and also assist with collecting and packing the eggs and distributing those out to our families. We have a neuro martial arts program, which we'll talk about a little bit more. And some people like to stay a little more, sedentary and maybe not do some of those things, and that's their prerogative too, particularly as we see some of our long-term clients get up there in age. We have a Young at Heart program, and they have their own specialized outings, but they opt into kind of a calmer, more peaceful environment where there's less sensory overload and chaos going on. So again, just trying to create as many different pathways for people based on what you're looking for. A
Love
little
that.
bit, yeah, that's
I
perfect.
love that choice focus.
Yes, and that's been a shift over time, and I think it's really important. And we don't just want to be a place where everybody comes to just receive care, although safety and care are always first and foremost. We want to be a place where they're truly able to do the things they want to do, have friends, and continue to build different skills and interest areas. Under kind of the umbrella of day services, we do have vocational services or supported employment. So that's if your loved one is interested in pursuing work, we will do the training to get them prepared, and also up to providing a job coach. That's Mr. Kyle featured there when he was working at Kohl's. And we have a number of community partners, Walgreens, McDonald's, several others that have hired villagers in the past, and we're constantly looking to build out those relationships. Actually, this year we will be, and I think there's another slide on it later on, but we are launching a vocational focus program specific to the 18 to 22 transition age range this year, working in partnership with some of the area school districts. So that's very exciting, and will be an expansion of those services. We are a contracted HCS provider with the state of Texas, and currently between HCS and Texas Home Living have 80 plus individuals we're serving through those programs. So one of the larger Medicaid waiver programs in this particular area. Under that program, which we'll get into more so, we have 5 residential group homes currently, as well as all the many other services such as case management, nursing, therapies, and so forth. And independent living, the group home would be considered supported living because the staff is there at all times. The village was a big partner in opening an independent living apartment home complex, which is not staffed, but is specific to individuals with IDD, and they're also able to live with family members depending on the size of the unit. And that's adjacent to our other facilities here. Currently, there is a wait list for that one, but it is available, and it is also low-income housing, so it's actually Section 8 HUD housing. So it's a great opportunity for those where affordable housing is really hard to come by, but you still want that opportunity to live independently.
Oh, good. Oh, these are so, so needed.
Thank you. And one of my favorite things to talk about is our partnerships. And this is an area I think that the village will continue to grow in because we can't do it all, right? We can't be experts in
Mhm.
everything, and we can't dive deep into all the different areas that may be beneficial for some of our villagers or that will help supplement some of the needs we know are there. So, Chamberlain University is a really exciting one. Their senior RN students come in to our program on a regular basis through rotations and just get right in there and engage with the clients. They're not just doing nursing or medical, although they help with that. They're just serving as really skilled, motivated volunteers. So we get this great benefit of having a team of maybe 6 to 8 extra students on hand to support and provide that extra level of meaningful engagement and socialization. And they get to carry back to whatever aspect of nursing they're going into a new love and appreciation and exposure to our population, which we know in the medical field is often all too rare. So that's a great one. I'll pause there to say the village does accept on a limited basis individuals that require toileting assistance, medication provision, feeding assistance, things of that nature. We have limited capacity, but we do provide it, which is not always the case at organizations like ours. So again, that's where having some of these outside partnerships really help increase our capacity to be able to do that. Battenberg's Martial Arts is a local martial arts school and company. They started working with Parkinson's disease and some of the individuals coming to their school, and we're seeing astounding results with how a specific approach to martial arts could really improve mobility and coordination and balance. So they translated that over to the IDD population, and it's just become one of our most popular and well-loved programs. We offer the classes Monday through Thursday in the mornings. And every morning it's full. We have a lot of volunteers coming in, and we've seen really incredible results with less dependence on walkers, individuals that had really um, pretty severe limitations with, let's say, hand or arm motion, seeing a lot of improvement there, as well as just confidence and overall strength, and sometimes even showing as increased verbal ability and things like that through the model they use. So that's a great asset to our program. And a more kind of commonly found one, but that doesn't make it any less exciting or productive is Bloom Fitness, which is an adaptive fitness program for those with IDD that we offer in partnership with them. And they do a great job of celebrating progress and achievements and milestones. And that's a lot of fun to see the villagers get excited about hitting those and participating in the program.
That is fantastic. We have had webinars with Bloom Fitness before. I think one of our recreational webinars. So definitely a great program.
Yeah, fitness is so important. It's not that we're tracking individual steps per day or anything like that, but we
Mhm.
know, all too often people with IDD do end up isolated at home or more sedentary or on the couch, as we often talk about. So it's step one to get outside and into a program and to meet people, and step two to really start to feel motivated to get up and move and understand that there are possibilities despite whatever your disabilities may be. So overall, all of that combined is when we're really thinking about what are the outcomes we're looking for. What what are we truly trying to make a difference in for those that are coming in every day and not only depending on us for safety and supervision, but to have a better life. We think of it in terms of these things. So socialization, community integration, um, independence, or a better word might be autonomy, may always need support, but feeling that there's a voice or a choice in those decisions. Physical health and wellness, as I mentioned, a sense of purpose and comfort and routine. So those are all things we pride ourselves in providing. And just sort of the numbers of our impact over the last year. So we are touching the lives of about 150 villagers. And you can see the numbers there across the various services. Our vehicles get around a lot over the course of the year with all of the outings and pickup and drop off services, as well as our dependence on volunteers and just how critical they and the community are to keeping everything we're doing running strong, not only with the physical things they do, but if we didn't have that community backing and support, it would be hard to continue to thrive. So we're very grateful for that.
So out of your 150 plus villagers, I mean, that's including everything, vocational services and all
Yes.
of these great things you do. How many residents would you say?
So within the group homes, we have 16, and then there's another approximately 20 um, spots at the independent living apartment complex. So a smaller number relative to the total we're serving, but that is an area where, and we can talk more about that. I think this was a question in advance, should I get on a waiting list or
Hmm.
tour, even if I don't think my loved one is going to need a home? And I think the answer is yes, because there's no harm to us, to you being on the list. It would just be a simple call where you say, no, thanks, not yet. I'm not interested. But at least it kind of gives you that opportunity to consider it if the space does come available. So
Yeah, that's so good.
as we get more interest, that is going to influence our strategic planning and decision making, and create more urgency around planning for more homes, and so forth. Um, so it's definitely an area where there's no current plans to grow, but it's something we're always monitoring, that would drive growth if there was significant interest or waiting list there, if that makes sense. Home and community-based services. Some of you or many of you may be familiar with this program as the primary Medicaid waiver support for adults with IDD. And, the famous thing we talk about is the size and length of the waiting list in the state of Texas. So, based on who you talk to, they'll tell you it's 18 to 20 years, 15 to 20 years. It really would depend a little bit on individual circumstance, but it's a long time. It's a long time, and so much so that you really have to get on the waiting list well before you anticipate needing it. And I would strongly
Yes.
advise doing so. Same situation, you can turn it down if you choose when your spot comes up, but it's very hard to get back on that list, if you change your mind later. So we, again, are a contracted provider of this as well as Texas Home Living and Class, so the main Medicaid waiver programs. And for our particular program, we have a director, we have a separate residential manager overseeing the group homes, two case managers and growing, and a full-time staff RN, as well as additional contract RN support. And then, of course, the administrative and billing specialist it takes to keep the program going. But we do have a really dedicated, robust team that is committed to not only offering the program and meeting and all the compliance requirements, but doing it, with a philosophy of top quality care and proactive support in mind. Um, so I do think of some of the HCS programs I've personally encountered. Ours is very strong. And if it's something you're looking for a provider or know someone who might be soon, just to be aware that we're here and looking forward to continuing to grow.
Fantastic.
A little bit more kind of just specifics and distinguishing characteristics of our
Mhm.
HCS. We do have case management nursing available, and what that means is we'll take the time to do individualized care assessments with the RN. There's in-home quarterly monitoring to make sure that all medical needs are being attended to, met, that any new trends or problems that might be creeping up are spotted right away and the appropriate medical care is scheduled. We do attend medical appointments with our residents if the family is not available or chooses not to. And training and education, both for staff and families, on various issues related to nursing and medical management. And same thing goes for comprehensive case management. So the individualized service coordination, monitoring in the homes, both group homes and host homes, and additional support services that are needed or identified. And our group homes. So we actually opened 3 new homes just last year. So we have been growing, and as I said, are open to continued growth. They are all pretty close in to Kingwood or a nearby community, Porter, in this area. Supervised living, so anytime the residents are in the home, a staff is on site at all times, including overnight. During the week and the day, the majority of all residents come to our day program, and that transportation is provided. Um, there are also activities and opportunities for community engagement on the weekends as well. Right now, all of our homes are either male or female, separate. There's no co-ed homes with 3 residents per home. And we currently do have 1 vacancy, which is in our male apartment home. So if that is something that might be a good fit for you, please do reach out to us. Our group homes, this is just a list. We tend to name them by the name of the street, which is where those names come from. You'll note that one of our male homes is currently transitioning to be a 4-person home. So it has 4 bedrooms, but there are a number of things we have to do as a provider to make it licensed as a 4-bedroom home. So that is happening. And noted there is the home with the vacancy. I will say at least 3 of our homes are 2-story, beautiful homes in really nice neighborhoods. In this area, they truly are seamlessly integrated with, what it would feel like to live in a normal home in the community, which is really what the goal is. They have roommates, and of course, they have their staff there to assist them, but for many of them, it's the first time they're able to safely and successfully live away from family, and that's very empowering, and it's also life-changing for the family. We've heard where families for the first time are able to go on dates with their significant other or take a vacation with less anxiety and things of that nature. And it's a big transition on both sides, but there really are a lot of benefits, and we take a lot of joy in helping that transition happen.
Jessica, can you talk a little bit about the neighboring community? And are you seeing a good amount of support for these individuals or otherwise in
We
these
are,
communities?
we are, I can honestly say, at least in my time, we've really had no issues or concerns presented in terms of the home or the residents not being wanted in that area, or not
Good.
being accommodating or understanding. I know that's a common thought, is that it would be hard to find a house or a home because maybe the landlord wouldn't want to rent it, or the neighbors or the HOA, and so forth.
Hmm.
We've been very fortunate. A couple of our homes are actually owned by a family member of one of the residents.
Oh, that's
And
good.
then we just have an agreement to operate it and fill the other places. But then we also have just found other landlords in the community who are very interested and willing to work with us in this model. Because we offer stability and they love the mission aspect of it. So we've been able to continue to grow, and that's what gives me faith that as we see that need and we have more interest in waiting lists, we would be able to open additional homes and continue to scale.
Fantastic.
I think I've touched on most of these, but essentially just, I think group homes sometimes get a bad rap and not without cause in some cases because it can be scary that the individual is sometimes vulnerable and you're relying on one staff person who you may or may not know well or of course we do background checks and we do all the things we're supposed to do, but there's that human element of I'm entrusting this safety and care to the person I love the most. And I think that's hard, and certainly there are horror stories of things that happen, but not only do we go above and beyond to do the training and all of the things to protect against those risks, but we're really trying to make it more than just a place for them to sleep, that it is that home where they continually have opportunities to go out into the community and connect, where they're building meaningful relationships with their co-residents, with staff, and with others in the program, that the homes, residents in different homes can do things together. They can participate in meal planning and money management. So it really is about increasing independence and autonomy as a result of living in the home as well. This is more about those apartments I mentioned. I think I covered most of this, but they are, again, fully independent, no staff at all. Of course, you could have private staff live with an individual or come in to take them different places and things like that. And we do see that happening. Many of the residents do participate in our day program. And there's overlap with other services we offer. It almost always has a waiting list. So if you're interested in that one, I would absolutely get on that list sooner than later. Vacancies do come up, and they're going to turn to that list to start vetting, who's going to be a good fit for this particular opening that we have. Host home family living, I haven't talked a lot about.
Yeah, and there is a question well, about foster care. So this is kind of similar. There's a question in the chat box about foster care. So this might be a good uh, program for that question.
Yes. So sometimes it is referred to as adult foster care, which is not entirely accurate, but it helps explain the way the program works. Most often, you will see host home families as the parents or primary caregivers utilizing their own home environment to facilitate care for the adult with IDD. And in return, they're a contracted employee, um, and this is under the HCS waiver program. So the state is essentially paying you as caregiver to facilitate that care from the home. And what it's doing is avoiding um, having to rely on an institution or another type of living environment. So it is better for the individual, but also just a more sustainable model. So with that, you have to be attached to an organization like the Village that is a contracted HCS provider that oversees the care within the home. So we have currently 40 host home families under the Village and very much looking to grow in that space. One thing that maybe not a lot of people do know is you can provide the care for your own family member or friend or whoever's close with you, but you also could have, let's say, a secondary person in your home um, that may be a friend or maybe not. It's just someone you're willing to do those same services for from your home environment. And that would be okay as well. So there are different creative ways to use the host home structure to meet housing needs in kind of the same way a group home would without it having to be the group home structure and environment. If you have more questions on that or think it's something that might be of interest to you, I've included my colleague Tiffany's information. She's our director of HCS, and she would love to talk further with you about that.
Fantastic. And again, you'll get these slides later on today. So you'll be able to have Tiffany's contact information. It'll come to your email later on today.
And switching gears, a little bit more about that transitional program I referenced. We got some seed funding from a foundation supporter, which was wonderful. So we've been able to do some initial hiring and get it off the ground. It is primarily designed for that 18 to 22 age range, but we know transition can go up as high as age 26. So the real intention is for anybody that's pretty recently coming out of the school system, whether you opted to graduate at 18 or to stay in through that 22, or maybe it's been a couple of years and nothing has really happened and you're looking for how to increase connection to community and pathways to employment or potentially even secondary education. This would be a good fit. It really emerged for us because organically, a few more rural school districts, maybe in more of the 25 to 30-mile distance from here, had very few resources themselves to offer transition programming within the district. So they contracted with the village and we got licensed and such with TEA to be able to do that, where they actually bus some students in to participate in our program. But it was not particularly structured or intentionally designed for that age group. They were more so just participating in aspects of our day program that were a good fit or that they enjoyed. So now we've been able to actually develop a program model and a curriculum that will be designed in modules to move those students through kind of pre-vocational and workforce readiness training. It will include an internship component, and then actual job readiness supports to hopefully prevent that graduating to the couch situation. And even if we're not yet at regular ongoing employment, along that continuum, we've made a lot of progress. And sometimes the schools, even when they offer these services, are limited in how much they can do or what the parameters of who they can serve are. So that's what we're really trying to do, is to be a better partner, and open that up to more students who would benefit from it. Again, even if in 2 or 3 years they're not going to be ready to work 5 days a week, how can we at least get them to that next step or that next phase? So we're really excited about this coming along. If it's something you're interested in, please contact us. We are actively looking for our first cohort for really the pilot program, which will launch in August, and would love to have you involved. Current challenges, these are not unique to the village. They're really endemic to just the work we do, which is so important, but really difficult at times, especially in Texas, with low resources, funding instability, and budget cuts. What we've already talked about with the wait lists, inflation and operational costs keep going up. So whether we're looking for donated dollars or we're trying to find ways to make our programs and services a better business model, those are constant strains and concerns. Limited systems accessibility and access barriers. So where we're able to go on outings or who we're able to partner with based on their willingness and ability to collaborate and work with the actual needs of those we're serving. And generally, for everybody all the time, societal stigma and awareness. I think in some ways it's a lot better these days than it was for many, many years, but it's still very much there. So these are just things we build into the way we plan and design our programs, but just to know that any organization is going to be facing these things at the same time they're trying to really work diligently toward providing the best quality programs and services. Our particular response and what we're focused on in 2026, some of which I've already touched on, but to keep on increasing awareness, community engagement. That's why we do webinars like these. It's just getting the word out, letting people know we're here. And that in addition to us, so many programs like this exist with great staff and great resources and great services that I would really encourage you just to go and learn about and see for yourself, so that you can make this best decision for your family. We're going to continue building our organizational capacity. We're working on things like data and evaluation, program so that we can make sure what we're doing is actually working and then communicate that out. And look to the future. So looking 3 to 5 years out as what the needs that are growing and what they will be at that time and how we can start planning now to anticipate and meet those.
Fantastic. Ooh, this is the good one. How do we get involved? How can we help?
Yeah, I mean, many of you, I'm sure, are looking for actual services, but even if you are, and let's say your child is still younger and you're just looking toward the future, a great way to really get a feel for how a program works is to volunteer or to go to one of its events or to find a way to start building relationships internally so that you may actually be able to impact or affect change with what happens at that organization. So definitely at the Village, volunteering is huge, whether it's individuals, companies, churches, civic groups, student groups. We have something for everybody. Sometimes it's working directly with the villagers and doing something fun, and other times it's, power washing our vehicles or doing a landscaping project or something of that nature. Many events, both fun events, again, with clients and families, like an upcoming Easter egg hunt or a field trip to NASA. And other times it's our big gala or casino night fundraiser. So just depending on what you're looking to get involved with. And we also do operate a thrift shop, the Village Thrift. And what's exciting about that is not only do all the proceeds go back to the village, but we employ several adults with IDD there on a part-time basis and also use it as one of our workforce training sites through our vocational program. So lots of different tasks between working at the front and greeting customers to sorting and tagging things in the back and those kinds of activities. So it's an awesome thrift store, super well organized, great team running it. So if you're in the area, please stop by there as well.
How do
And
we
that
schedule a tour?
Yeah, that's the big thing. That's the best thing to do if you have any interest at all, is just come and see it for yourself, right? So we
Yeah.
do tours throughout the week. Our preferred time is about mid-morning, 10 a.m., just because that's really when the program is in full swing and a lot of those activities are going on. But we will absolutely work with your schedule and customize it to find a time that works for you. If you're more interested specifically in the group homes or host home, Tiffany would probably be the best starting point. If you just want to see the overall program, the day program, learn more about the transportation or some of the supported employment services, that would all fall under day program and Miss Zoe, who is listed there.
I was hoping you would tell us how to say her name. Zoe.
So
Okay.
that's it.
So yes, if we'll come back to this page because I think that's okay. One more. Yeah. And then we'll get to the last questions and then my last slides.
Sure. Yeah, this is just an easy way to get to our website, thevillagecenters.org. Or if you really want to get a sense of some of those outings and activities I spoke about, check us out on Facebook. It's a little bit of a clunky Facebook hook there, but you can find us or on Instagram. We have a lot of great videos of some of the cool things that are happening. So would love to see you on social as well.
Oh, that is fantastic. So we do have a few questions to go through. And I'm just so excited about your program because one thing I always say is, as you're figuring out what's going to be the next step in your journey, it's so important, I think, to help your loved one, experience things and not just be along for the ride. Give them those choices, give them that the options as much as you can, right? And help them see what's available. And I love that you offer these volunteer opportunities and the thrift store and these different ways that people can get involved even before they are ready to be in your program so that the kids can get to know or the young adults can get to know the people. I love that. I feel like that is just golden right there. So thank you for that. There's a couple more slides here, things that we talk about quite often that you want to keep on your special needs planning radar. You know, the Texas waiver programs, those benefits like SSI and SSDI, Medicaid, Medicare, how all of those things work. I do have a question, a couple questions. So we'll get into some of these, and I'll just kind of let the slides go in the background. So we did talk about the wait list. How long would you say the wait list is for that community, that apartment community?
I actually do not know that. I will say with that independent living apartment community, it ultimately incorporated into its own organization. So we still are very involved through a governing aspect. We have seats on the board, but we're intentionally not involved in the actual admissions process or management of the property and so forth. So I don't know if they're able to tell you that. The contact information is on our website if you navigate to the independent living section, and they may be able to answer that for you. I'm not sure if they disclose it or not.
Okay, okay, great. And you did say that there was one opening there.
There's an opening in one of our group homes, but I do not believe currently at the independent living apartments. But they
Oh,
do come up. Certainly, in the past couple of years, there have been two or three vacancies that come up. So it's not that you're on the waiting list and nothing ever moves. I just don't know kind of what that average wait time might be.
okay. And you mentioned that you do have some spots open for people who need more medical care or help with toileting, bathing, that kind of stuff. What about mental health? Do you provide mental health services as well?
We do not directly. We do connect villagers with those services if they're of interest to the family. We have a couple of local partners. Absolutely, if you're an HCS client, we're going to make sure that those mental health services are happening as a part of your overall individualized plan. But we do not directly have any, specialists or licensed providers on staff at this time. And that's also, I don't know if this was asked, but it often is asked if we're able to serve those with different behaviors, aggressive behaviors, or perhaps elopement. And it's really on a case by case basis. In general, we are not able to serve someone who is known to be a threat to themselves or others, just because we have to keep safety first and foremost. And of course, also think about liability and just, what's in the best interest of all residents and staff. But there's a really broad spectrum before you get to that point, and that would really just be part of an individualized admissions conversation and process.
So if people have questions about, a specific person, like someone is asking in the chat, would this be a good fit for someone who is independent oriented, young adult, but they still need some support, but they're not on like housing list or SSI or anything like that. And it sounds like this would be the perfect kind of program for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best step would be to contact Zoe, have an initial conversation. If you're not sure if it's worth coming for a tour, she's happy to talk through with you, whether it is or not, whether you might be a good fit or not. And we really do have those conversations individually and very good about getting back with everybody. So that would be the best way to kind of address individual circumstances. Um, but yes, obviously for the group homes, you have to have HCS. So that's the big caveat there. For the independent living apartments, those are for people with IDD, but I don't have as much input into how they, what they accept as documentation or what specific diagnosis would need to be in place, but they could help answer those questions as well.
Right. And then the final question, we've got someone who is a community advocate in El Paso, and they're wondering, do you collaborate with other nonprofits that are similar to yours, but serve people outside of your area? Would you be willing to have conversations about expanding your model to other areas in Texas?
Yes, always happy to have conversations. In particular, I really value being open and collaborative. We've recently been actively visiting and touring other sites and organizations to learn from them, to look for opportunities to work together, to be referral partners. I mean, I think all of our shared interest and goal is to find the best programs and services and resources that'll meet the needs of that particular family and person. And we know that, none of us can do it all. So I think there really should be a lot more collaboration and conversation. And even if it's not formal, just, here's what it would take to get a martial arts program started, or here's our experience working with the school districts, or however we can help. We would love to have those conversations.
Oh, that is so fantastic. Well, I've had this slide sitting up. This is for us at Consolidated Planning Group. If you want to speak with us, we do offer a free consultation where we can talk about, your specific family situation, give you some free helpful advice, answer your questions, and then talk to you about how we work as a company and what we would charge if you did want to put together a plan for your loved one through Consolidated Planning Group. We do ask that you fill out a short initial questionnaire before this meeting, but it's on Zoom. It's usually about 30 to 45 minutes. You can call or email the office or call or email me directly. Or use the QR code to schedule that free consultation. We will probably be reaching out to you to see if you have any follow-up questions or if you want to schedule with us. This is our entire team at Consolidated Planning Group. We are a small independent firm. We work as a collaborative group on every single client. And again, it's truly in our hearts at CPG to be here and help families that we work with. So don't hesitate to reach out to us in any way that you're comfortable with so that we can help you. Again, Jessica, thank you so much for being here with us today. That's all the questions that I've seen in the chat box. Um, the community advocate in El Paso is sending you her email if you want to write that down, and we'll get that to you as well.
Great.
So yeah, we would love to build that connection and help build out more services in every area. They're
Yes,
needed.
absolutely.
This
It's been my
this is such a great.
pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity and wish I could meet you all individually, but please do reach out and would love to talk further.
Yes, yes. And if anybody has any further questions, follow up with Jessica or myself, and we are here to help you. I hope you all have a great week and we'll talk soon. Thank you again for joining our webinar. I hope that you find some more that are going to be important to you. And Jessica, you are fantastic. We appreciate everything you guys are doing over there at the Village Centers.
Thank you, Michelle. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.